Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Confessions of a Serial Cheater. Getting stuff off my chest and posting to Reddit is helping me process. This is not a sympathy post. This is acknowledgement of my own actions and choices and wrongdoings. For the last 7 years, I, 27/M, have cheated on every girl I have been with. In total I have cheated in 5 different relationships on 23 different occasions. Ex number 1, 20M, 19F. First time I cheated. In college, I met someone online, long distance, texted constantly. She was emotionally attached and I wasn't. Kept her a secret because she was a big girl, I was shallow, and didn't want my friends to know. I chose to hook up with someone the weekend before meeting IRL for the first time. Slept with her for the whole weekend when we met, then after I got home I slowly distanced myself. Told her I'm not sure about this and lied to her and myself saying I wasn't really committed cause we never met IRL before. She found out I cheated because she got chlamydia. I had contracted it from the other girl and passed it along without knowing. She wanted me to stay, I said sorry and then we never spoke again. I knew I hurt her, and afterwards I completely repressed that. Happened 7 years ago and this is the first time I've retold that story. Ex number 2. 22M, 21F. First longer term. She was nice, but I didn't like her very much. I was emotionally unattached but was too scared to dump her so I just didn't. I strung her along for 9 months and ducked 6 other girls while we were together. I was both emotionally and physically cheating with these girls. I only dumped my ex after she told me that she loved me and wanted me to meet her family for Thanksgiving. At that point I realized she wasn't just going to go away and I had to actually end it. Never told anyone about cheating on her either, and she never found out. Also met go-to girl at this point. Go-to girl. Met go-to girl late during relationship with ex number 2. She liked me and was getting attached, but knew I was ducking around so she decided to walk. After that she would come back around every couple of months. Sometimes I was in a relationship, sometimes she was. We would have our fling for a few weeks then I would disappear until she drunk texted me again in a couple months. This went on for about 4 years. Never committing to her, using her because she was emotionally attached and hoping I would leave my exes for her. I kept her in my back pocket as my backup option in every relationship moving forward. Ex number 3, 24M, 28F. Toxic relationship. I dated her for 6 months and cheated on her twice. Our relationship was toxic. She was mean to me, and I was looking for new girls behind her back. If it wasn't for the fact that I went back to school I probably would have cheated more. It was a very unhealthy dynamic that ended explosively after she was rude to my family on Christmas. I had been looking for an out and when I found one I took it. I was mad at her when we broke up, felt fully vindicated, then immediately got into the next relationship afterwards. Ex number 4, 25M, 27F. The big one. First girl I fell for. I was with this woman for 2.5 years. She was a kind and good-hearted human. Beautiful, funny, and sweet. Helped me break down a lot of my walls. First girl I introduced to my family. They liked her. I liked her. We had our problems for sure, and part of me always wanted to leave. But I didn't leave. Because I loved that she loved me. And I took that disrespected the duck out of this human being. I cheated on her 14 times during our relationship. I started early and did it repeatedly. At times I tried to stop, then 6 months later I would find another girl. The cheating became exceedingly compulsive and vapid. I was just looking for women to duck. I would go out to clubs and bars, pick up someone, hook up and then never speak to them again. I also used escorts and cam girls. Throughout the relationship she had her suspicions and every time she came close to the truth, found a hair, saw a text, wanted to know what I was up to on a night I was cheating, I gaslit and manipulated her into dropping it. I left her a year in, then came back, then 6 months later I started up again, and about 6 months after that we were over. She never found out. I believe part of her knew, but she never admitted it to herself, and I never admitted it to her. If she were to call now, and still be seeking answers, then I would have to tell her. I would love to hear from her, but I truthfully hope she never calls. We broke up recently. I was cheating repeatedly and checked out emotionally. On that last night, she gave me an ultimatum, yes or no, do we have a future together? After that I watched someone I care about walk away from me. I felt it. At first the pain was quiet. I chose to not jump back into dating. I was sad and wanted to mourn fully. Spent those first weeks grieving, feeling my emotions. Then after 2 weeks, I checked to see if she was back on dating apps. She was, and the levee fully broke. Upset directed towards her, almost immediately followed by shame turned inwards, and disgust, and even more disgust. Every negative self-debilitating emotion has been hitting me for weeks now. And I deserve it all and more. I completely defiled someone who only wanted to love me. I defiled her and other repeatedly for years. So with that said, this was the final push for me to open my ducking eyes. Enough is enough. This shit stops now. I can't fix or change my past, but I can make the decision to be better. How I see it, if I don't stop now, then I'll probably wake up in 10 years with nothing and realize I've deprived my life of knowing honest joy, compassion, kindness, peace, happiness, love, hope, sanity. I don't deserve those things right now, and I can't be trusted with them. But I want to get back there somehow. I just don't want to do this shit anymore. First step is learning and practicing self-forgiveness. I don't feel deserving, but I guess that's the point, right? After that I'll explore shadow work, confront the trauma. And above all, stay the duck away from women until I can trust myself not to hurt people anymore. I've been working through acknowledgement, part 1 of self-forgiveness, for the last couple of weeks. Today I made some progress. I told go-to girl the truth. I was interacting with her again. She's the last person I cheated on my ex with. I told her the truth, that she wasn't the only one I cheated with, that on top of lying to my exes about her, I've lied to her about other women, and that I've never intended to have a relationship with her. We both acknowledged that our dynamic over the years has been completely toxic, but I take the bulk of that load. We agreed that we're done and to not contact each other again. It sucked to tell her the truth, but she deserved to know why and to be let off my hook. For the first time in 7 years, I don't have a supply. No girlfriends, no dating apps, no flirty convos at the bar, nothing. And I intend to keep it that way until I can trust myself not to hurt people anymore. I feel good about this. I have hurt a lot of people over these years. I've hurt dozens of women with my actions, I've hurt friends, I've hurt family, and I've hurt myself. I am so sorry. I am so undeniably and completely at fault for these actions. I take full and total accountability for everyone I've hurt. I chose to do it, and I chose to lie about it, and I chose to keep doing it. I'm sorry to everyone I've hurt. It ends now. Enough is enough. I will never do this shit again. I would rather be alone for the rest of my life or have every woman I fall for in the future viciously break my heart than ever hurt and use another person like this again. For anyone reading this, some parting thoughts. If you are thinking about cheating, don't do it. It's a slippery slope and the way back is long. I've lost 7 years of my life to being a liar, and will lose more trying to climb my way out of this. If you have cheated in the past, you have got to stop. That decision comes from within though, and nobody can make you. But damn, I hope you stop. Once a cheater, always a cheater is not true. People are capable of change. Being accountable about cheating is hard, but you gotta do the hard thing if you want to stop. You can't just let yourself forget about it, you have to face it and decide to stop and then do the work to stop. TLDR cheated throughout my entire 20s, finally lost a good woman I cared about and facing how empty and shallow I am after it all. Deciding to stop, fully acknowledge everything I've done, and trying to do the work. I have a question. What was the point of getting a girlfriend if you were just going to cheat? Why not just do hookups and then settle down later? It honestly sounds like he's a narcissist and just always needed a constant supply. Good question, but I don't have a full answer yet. I think the other response is valid. I plan to discuss narcissism in therapy, but I don't think I have a personality disorder. I think with every girl I strung along, I went in with the intention to just hook up with them. I was in relationships where I said I was committed but never had the intention of actually committing. Excluding the last relationship, I don't think I wanted to be with these women at any point, but I was okay with stringing them along to get something from them: sex, validation, emotional support. So to be blunt, I didn't care about who I was using, or why, or for how long. I just wanted to keep doing the thing, and girlfriends gave me a constant supply. Self-forgiveness. LOL. People like you are my biggest fear. Couldn't agree more. Nice to know after home number 57 you felt like you learned your lesson. /S. I can't forgive cheaters, but I extend a tiny amount of respect and sympathy towards the cheaters who cheated once but completely stopped afterwards. You on the other hand. Oh boy. What to even say to you first? He wouldn't care no matter what you said. This dude is on here teasing every time he's cheated on some poor girl, phrasing it like he feels bad about it, but you can tell he's actually somewhat proud. Then at the end he has the nerve to offer other people advice? Really? I'd rather take advice from the captain of the Titanic about how to avoid icebergs than any behavioral advice from this guy. He's a narcissist and proud of it. I find this post gross. I, 100, agree with you, this guy is simply the worst. I've met a dude exactly like this guy in the post. Goes on about how much of a Christian he is and how he wants to find a good Christian girl. Complete douchebag narcissist. Has cheated on every single girl he's with, hooks up with a shit ton of girls. Actually asked our friend group if he should still hook up with a girl that has STDs. Lol, we roasted him alive for that one, and he still had the audacity to ask if he should still get head from her at the very least. My friends and I cut him out of our friend group. A complete piece of shit. His ex had messaged me asking some things, and she said he had recently sexually assaulted a girl and they were both gonna expose him on social media. I supported them, but they didn't do it. One day he will get exposed and I hope he does. You have a bigger heart than me. I can only wish the worst life can possibly bring to anyone who is a cheater. Someone needs to check his testosterone levels, smiley face, they must be dangerous high. About normal, I just despise cheaters. You will be able to change, but it won't be with anyone you ever cheated on. Subconsciously you don't respect any of them, so just be sure to choose someone who actually has self-respect and sets boundaries for you. You keep choosing people who are pushovers. It's not hard to change when you finally can admit you have a problem, and are willing to get to the root on why you are the way you are. Most likely due from childhood traumas. Agreed. I was actually thinking about this last night after writing this post. Every girl I've ever stayed with for an extended time has been very insecure in themselves. Clearly I'm picking these women because they're easier to manipulate or because they give me more validation. I have no intention to return to any of the women from my past. At this moment, I have little intention to interact with women in my future, not forever, but as long as it takes to trust that I will not cause more harm. If I can't get to that place of trusting myself again, then I should remain solo, and I'm okay with that. Maybe go get some therapy so you can figure yourself out first before you try and figure out a relationship with someone else. Agreed. Sorry, I should have clarified that further. I have no intentions of getting into another relationship unless I can fix myself. Me starting this work is not with the goal to one day find another relationship, it's so I can live with myself again. Yeah, I hate to say it, but after being through this a few times with people, buddy, you suck. Get your shit together. Whether you like them or not, these are human beings. I watched someone I care about walk away from me. To be honest, if you cared you would not have. You know that. Once a cheater, always a cheater is not true. People are capable of change. Every relationship you have ever been in says this isn't true. You have never been in a relationship and not cheated ever. The reason you aren't cheating this very second is you are not in a relationship. People can change, I've been told. It is yet to be seen if you are one of those people. I agree with both points. I only cared once the consequences took place. I intentionally stopped caring so I could continue to do what I was doing. If I actually cared, I would have stopped. She did have an effect on me, for sure, and I did have feelings for her, but I intentionally chose to ignore that and continue my actions. As for once a cheater, always a cheater, you're right. I am the last person to get on a soapbox and say it's true, but I have hope and I believe that I can stop. I need to change and stop these actions and move forward and be a moral/decent member of society. I believe I'm capable of that. Let's not sugarcoat this with sob stories and feelings. Fact is that you have displayed numerous times that you lacked care, understanding, and respect for all these people. The understanding that I'm getting at is that you now are self-reflecting on what happened and how narcissistic you were. And I can also see that you hurt a lot of people, including your friends, family, and yourself. This is where I have the issue. In all of this, I want you to try and see from all these girls' points of view, and how they felt about every instance, action, and response from you. And how it changed them. I'm not saying to change what happened. What I am saying is to see how they now have to tiptoe or be worried for another person that was like you in your past. People may say maybe trauma and a multitude of things. But you and I both know the answer is just that you were narcissistic. The reason that you now see what you've done is because you are now alone. That pain you felt wasn't grieving. That's called guilt. Guilt made itself clear because you can tell she knew and suffered. Guilt BC, you are now alone. All of this isn't because you helped yourself, it was because you had a sporadic reaction to the guilt you feel. All of these things you listed are common knowledge to the point that even an infant can understand it. The funny thing you never realized is that they didn't ask too much of you or for you to be some random ultra mega Chad. They just assumed you wouldn't slip, trip, and land on another girl. These things don't need a 12-step program or a self-help book, they need self-control, discipline, understanding, care, and selflessness. All are traits you lacked. Let go of your self-righteousness, be honest, that's what all this was, and accept what was in order to change what is. I agree with parts of this response, but I want to be 100% here. I'm not attempting to sugarcoat my actions, I'm in no way righteous. This post is not intended to be a sob story. This post is about acknowledging my actions as a first step in stopping them. I understand that the traits I lack are not complex, that it doesn't take monk-like discipline to not do what I did, maybe just a little bit of empathy and self-restraint. In any case, I made these same choices repeatedly, and now I'm addressing them. Yes, I've inflicted a lot of pain on the people around me, but the people I have hurt the most are the dozens of women I have used and discarded. The dozens of women I never texted back when I said I would, that I cut off after I got what I wanted, that put trust in me which I betrayed. I'm still unpacking that all and it'll take time, but acknowledging them and what I have done to them is a huge part of this. At this point in life, for most cases, acknowledging the pain I caused is all I can do. I don't think it's fair or healthy to reach out to these women again. They are all deserving of an apology if they are seeking it, but they do not deserve to be reminded about the past if they have moved on just so I can get some atonement. That's why I have to focus on what I can do to be and do better. As for, I'm just a narcissist. From everything I've skimmed on it thus far, you're probably right. I don't think I have a personality disorder. I had full agency in all this, but I will explore what narcissism is in relation to how I have conducted myself over these years. TBH, I don't think this is a sob story or a pity party at all. I honestly applaud you for being so transparent with the world, knowing you're going to be ripped to shreds on here. Your story sounds exactly like someone I've been friends with for 7 years. It's actually crazy how much you two sound alike. I'll say it again, it honestly takes a lot of courage to tell your story. What you did was really FD up, but the important part here that no one is really talking about is the acknowledgement. You're acknowledging everything you've done, all of the women you've wronged, the good, bad and ugly. Moving forward, you're taking the steps to becoming a better man, and to me that's really important. Shows you have some decency and good left in you somewhere deep inside. Continue to work through everything, don't let up, don't stop. You've done the hardest already, and that's fully recognizing all of your wrongs, admitting what you've done out loud and starting the process to change. I sincerely appreciate anyone doing this. Most won't, they would rather be in denial. It's going to be a long, hard road, but I hope you see this all the way through and become an incredible man. Wish you the best of luck. Thank you for this. Seriously. Definitely a long road ahead, but I put myself here and I'm going to work to get back. That's great, keep that positive mindset. Don't let anyone take you out of it. Once you get on that positive mindset and attitude, a lot of people will do and say things to get you out of it. You know the saying, misery loves company, stay away from anyone like that. Update us or me, grimacing face, on how it's going for you. DM if you need to vent or advise on anything. This is terrifying and disgusting. I honestly think, for your own good and others, that you shouldn't be in relationships at all. You're not shaped for that. It will be a lonely life, but at least a truthful one. You are absolutely trash, coming on here and bragging about what a piece of poop you are. Can't wait till karma catches you. Preach, celebratory gesture. I'm avoiding responding to the negative comments, because I'm not here to defend myself, and most are things I'm feeling and agree with, but this. I am in no way bragging about any of this. That is the exact opposite of what this post is about. I know that shit is headed my way, fine, but I'm not here to laugh it up. Wow. You are just the worst. You should honestly just stay single for the rest of your life, because you don't deserve to have a GF bro. You should not be respected as a man, and as a human you should be banned from society. You will never know how cheating breaks a person's soul, and fills his future path with suffering, doubts and sleeplessness. You will never know what it's like to pick up the broken pieces of your ego with hands bloodied by lies. So I beg you, don't come here talking about things you don't know and will never understand. You are from the other side of the shore, you make people suffer. Your confession will not change anything. Your redemption will not change anything. I hope that peace will not find your way. You are projecting your own personal hurt and your desire for the perpetrators of that hurt to be punished. This is turning you into a bad person who will never find peace, love or happiness. You need to learn to let go and love yourself, or your future holds only misery. Heed my words. My stranger, believe me, I am very fulfilled and my life is going great. My words to Op are the same words I would have had to a murderer. Does that make me a bad person? I don't think so. It makes me a person who has lived through the ravages of infidelity and seen and read the testimonies of thousands of other people. What Op did deserves no mercy. And from your comment, I think I know which side you are on. You are not the judge of the depth of the suffering of others. So be respectful of those who have lived it or are living it. Be respectful of the thousands of lines written here under the tears. Thank you. No, again you are projecting by assuming that because I preach forgiveness and self-love that I am in turn a cheater trying to excuse myself. Impressive mental gymnastics, I must say. I am speaking from the perspective of someone who has carried the sort of energy you put out in your post. It is poison. You have been poisoned by the pain and damage other people have caused you, and it bleeds out your soul and poisons the world around you. It will bring you nothing but misery, mark my words. For context, your interaction on this account is almost exclusively reserved for discussion and mostly venting of very, very negative energy regarding being cheated on. You are obsessed. It has poisoned you. Why are you acting this way if you are into forgiveness on self-love? How am I acting, if you don't mind me asking? Questioning someone's behavior and trying to get them to see it differently for their own well-being is hardly the spiteful act of malice you're trying to imply it is. This is what I mean. Even your replies to me are pretty toxic, mate. You need to take better care of yourself, folded hands. Thank you for the advice. You're the type of person who talks shit for your own good, like the preacher on the corner screaming for people to repent or go to hell. Your arrogance in thinking you're helping people in these comments is laughable. I mean, frankly, you come across as a bunch of bitter, miserable, twisted people spewing hate into the world. Whether I help you or not is irrelevant. You don't get to spew the energy you do and not hear about yourself. Whether or not you accept the truth of what I'm saying or continue wearing the hurt that's been meted out to you as if it's some kind of badge of honor that gives you a hall pass to be a shitty excuse for a human being to anyone you deem morally reprehensible is up you, buddy. So angry at the world and the wrongs you've felt that you are blind and assume anyone that doesn't sing the victim anthem for you is a piece of shit. I do not think you have the ability to change, because once you find another woman that you have to actually commit to, your natural instincts will likely kick in and you'll cheat again. I do hope you're at least in deep therapy so that you can uncover why this started for you in the first place, or what personality disorder you may potentially have. I realize a lot of people feel as you do, and you actually remind me of an ex who I'm sure handled things the same way you have. If nothing else, maybe be honest about yourself to future partners and or try a polyamorous lifestyle, but I'm sure you probably can't stand the thought of the woman being with another man. Hope this doesn't come off rude, but I'm genuinely curious. Did anything from your childhood/growing up lead you to this? I'm the type of person that believes issues in adult life usually come from something in the past. Just would like to know, as I'm terrified of unknowingly raising kids that treat others like this. Not rude at all. I want to be an open book here, so yes, I'll share. Note, none of these are excuses for my actions. Yes, I was exposed to some shitty things, but we all are, and I chose to commit my acts. I'm certain there are plenty of others who have had similar and or worse experiences who would never do what I have done. Parents divorced at a young age, grew up in an unstable household where conflicts were never resolved peacefully. Lots and lots of screaming matches. I grew up to be very fearful of conflict and still am. Father was a serial cheater and abusive. He cheated on my mom repeatedly throughout their marriage. I knew all of this at a young age because of the arguments and my mom telling me about it earlier than I should have known some of those details. Additionally knew because my dad liked gay porn and wouldn't lock the computer. Like, I still vividly remember opening the family computer to see close-up hardcore gay pornography when I was less than 10 years old. His abuse was primarily verbal, occasionally physical. He actually beat me up once when I was 19, and that did push me into a "I'm gonna be a man in spite of him" mindset. Older brother was also a cheater and extremely abusive to his partners. He had some form of undiagnosed illness. Our assumptions were BPD, but he refused to get diagnosed. He would scream at the family, break things, beat his girlfriends. He treated us all like shit, but he was family. He died about 4 years ago of an odd. Honestly, that wasn't when the cheating began, that was with the LDR, but after he died I just went on autopilot for a couple years, ducking whoever and doing whatever. Growing up feeling undesirable, I was picked on for my appearance and grew a resentment for never being picked. Moved around a lot, so I never developed a sense of belonging, just always wanted to find somewhere to fit in and be liked. I guarantee there were times I could have adopted the incel mentality, but I was more interested in smoking a bunch of weed and numbing myself. After high school I stopped smoking, but never really dealt with my trauma. Once I finally grew into myself and actually started getting attention from women, I used it for my own gain. Those are the primary things that come to mind. Once again, none of these are excuses for my actions. I made choices. I chose to run away from dealing with all my shit and instead inflict it on others. Just tacking onto this, I think one of my many justifications was since I'm not assaulting, or hitting, or verbally abusing any of these women that makes me better than my dad and brother, but it just doesn't. We all mistreated the women and relationships in our lives. My brother literally died ducking around in these streets, and my dad is 62 and alone with none of his kids talking to him anymore. Maybe you should go talk to some of the ladies you cheated on. I'm sure our cheating affected how they see themselves and future relationships. Thank you for sharing. Maybe you could help out the ones that are getting cheated on. Give them insight. Did you hide your stuff in her phone? How did you hide it from them? I need to know. Thank you. Maybe. I think that in most cases, there's only more harm to be done in telling them how empty it all was, like turning the knife already in the back. If anyone contacts me and asks about it, then for sure, but if they're moving on, I don't want to disturb their peace. As for methods, honestly I think they're always the same in all the stories. Delete all texts from anyone I interacted with. Keep place clean and dispose of evidence. If anything arises, just lie and minimize it. Gaslight. Do you perceive women as human beings? Yes, I do, but my actions have shown that I clearly don't have respect for their needs in relation to my own. I genuinely don't think I've been thinking about anyone else's needs beyond the surface level for years. Ducking hell. I don't think there's anything else to say after that. This sub is actually hilarious. The number of people who carry and harbor seriously negative and dark energy towards total strangers. You are literally directing your own personal pain and sense of injustice towards a stranger trying to effect change. I say it to anyone dealing with trauma. Carrying that energy hurts absolutely no one except yourself. It certainly doesn't punish anyone who has ever wronged you, and it only serves to build a wall between yourself and happiness. Unfortunately, the world is a cold, cruel, shit place a lot of the time, and as much as it sucks, you can't force those who wronged you to repent or suffer. They do not owe you anything. Only you owe yourself to be the very best you can be. Oh hun, I am so sorry you're going through this hurt. It ducking sucks. Plain and simple. I'm proud you're taking accountability, as many would not and would rather hide under the guise of it being someone else's fault. Have you sat down and considered what you're actually seeking by seeking out other people to sleep with? What are you missing? What void are you trying to fill with sex? Believe me, speaking from a past serial cheater, those internal conversations are uncomfortable, and even more so if talked about in therapy. But finding the root of that and growing from there can really help find some peace with your demons. It doesn't hurt to apologize to those you have wronged in the past either. Also doesn't hurt to consider ethical non-monogamy after the hard parts and find someone comfortable with that and wants to be with you. Something to consider. I do hope you find what you've been seeking and wish you peace. Thank you for this. It's nice to hear from other people who have walked this same road before. I don't fully know what I'm seeking or what void I'm trying to fill. I have some early thoughts about it, mainly seeking validation, but I haven't done the work to figure that out yet. It's definitely on the horizon though. As for apologizing, every single person I have used over these years is deserving and owed an apology from me. However, I'm going to refrain from reaching out because I don't think it's fair to disturb someone else's peace again years later so I can get atonement. I'll also admit that I'm scared of coming clean and potentially doing more damage to some of these women, especially ex number 4. Right now I think the best way to apologize is to acknowledge my past choices, do the work to heal, and lead with my actions by never doing this shit again, and if anyone knocks on my door looking for answers, then I'll give that to them. You should share your story in r/support forwards. Well, good for you for trying, but what makes you think you could ever change or that karma isn't waiting for you? I personally believe once a cheater always a cheater, especially when you didn't even care until the last second. I hope you can change, but do you see a future in which you're in a healthy relationship with someone you care for, or are you done with dating? Honestly, just hope, I guess. I have hope in myself that I can change. I have hope that I can become a healthy person again, and potentially a healthy partner. I don't have any intentions of dating for a long time though, it's not my focus or concern and shouldn't be. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.